my favorite quote. What you do speaks so loud, I cannot hear what you say. And that's exactly true. There's so many times, it's like when I started before, it's like, what's getting in your way of communication? It's like so many times, it's really just, oh my God, I can't believe her voice is so annoying. You know, so that's what's going on. It's like in our heads, we're trying to listen, but our lizard brain or our monkey brain is saying, oh, her voice is driving me crazy. And then all of a sudden she's finished talking, it's like, oh, what? I don't know what you're saying. Or it could be something really small, as I wonder why she's standing like this. I wonder what's wrong. You know, all these little things. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be in our conscious mind to have this effect. What it means is our subconscious mind is doing that too. Because our subconscious mind, our little lizard, is looking at everything. And our lizard is saying, okay, she's standing like this, which means that she's less than confident, which means that, you know what? I didn't have to take it with a grain of salt what she's saying. Right? Okay. So subconsciously, we are doing this triggering too, and turning off the way that we're listening just based on what our eyes and our ears are doing. And that's what I really, really love to focus on. Nonverbal signals have 5 times as much impact as verbals. Okay, 60 to 90% of the message is nonverbal. Body language is 60 to 80% in negotiations. It takes 2 to 7 minutes to make a first impression. Seconds, minutes, you're done. Okay. It can take up to 12 visits to undo a negative first impression, which I find really fascinating and frightening. You know, because the fact is, that's a moot statistic because, let's face it, you're not going to say, okay, I didn't like you the first 11 times, but let's try it again. You know?
Yeah, so true.
So, that's, so their visual skills are really important. Eye contact is important, but of course you don't want to stare like this person is doing there. Look for 5 to 10 seconds or 70% of the conversation. Posture is extremely important. What do we know about posture is like it dictates almost everything. You want your feet hip distance apart, open torso, nothing closed. The torso is the most vulnerable parts of our body. And the moment we start closing it off, we are closing off access to us and our emotions and trust. So people are going to be less trusting of you when you're in a closed position. Like this, like this, like this. All of these things, and not only are they closed positions so that you actually take in less information from a closed position than you do from an open position. They did these studies which were really fascinating, that people remember more and take in more and have a more positive feeling about the speaker when they were sitting in the audience like this versus when they were sitting in the audience like this. All right, so, and you want your weight evenly distributed on the front. So this is your power pose, this is your power position. This is how you really have the power. Most of us, if you're talking to somebody up here, what's happening here? I gave my whole presentation like this, and you're like, and the fact of the matter is, if you got up, if somebody stood up and pushed me, I would fall over. And the other thing that we tend to do is like this. Oh, thank you. Okay, so like when you're like this is comfortable and chatty, but you're not in your power. You're not in your power position. And another little thing that I wanted to talk about on my website, if you go on my website, I have a lot of videos about body language. But one of them is, the thing is like if your foot is behind you, a lot of people will stand like this, and it's like, look subtle, I look like I'm front, right? But our feet are what tell us where we want to go. And if somebody is looking at you, the lizard brain is checking me out head to toe, and is checking out that my foot wants to be out the door. So what's happening is you're going to take what I'm saying a little bit less seriously. And that's a subconscious thing that we do with body language. Seated is all similar. A lot of times we're seated in our body language. You want to be chest forward, not invade the other person's space, of course, hands on top of the desk and not under the desk. Told you about my Morgan Stanley experience. One day there was an FA, a financial advisor, talking to me, and his hand was under the desk, and he was nervous, I guess, so he was going like this, under the desk. And what, could I hear him? Could I understand anything that he said? No, my whole mind is thinking, what the heck is he doing under there? So you want to do that. Hands on top of the chest, invisible. Arms and legs uncrossed, just like what I was saying here. It cuts off energy. It cuts off your being able to understand and being understood. Avoid sitting directly across from someone. That sounds really interesting and weird. But when you're directly across from someone, you're in a competitive position. That's a competitive stance. So if I'm directly across from you, I'm more in competition with you. And it's, again, it's subconscious. And then, like at meetings, it'll have us like, you're probably the person across from you, you're going to come up with the ideas like, oh no, that's not the best idea. So if you're in that situation, one of the ways that you can fix that is just to turn yourself at 45 degrees. And then we're no longer in a competitive position. So some little things. There are tons of other things. Gestures are really so important. They help you grab attention, increase attention, the impact of communication, and help people retain information, oddly enough. And these planes are fascinating. That just someone did a lot of research about where gestures come from and what they mention. And I tend to, if you've noticed, and I always think I'm going to change it, but I don't, I speak from the passion plane, because I'm like a hero. So I'm talking from the passion plane, and it's from my heart and here. Now, when you want to slow things down, when you want to get a little bit more serious, you do from the truth plane. And the interesting thing is the somatics of the body, the brain and the body work together. And if you notice, I did not do anything to lower my voice. All I did was lower my hands. And that changes what you do and how you're perceived. And I don't like it down there. So I'm going to go back up. I mean, it's kind of nice. And what you want to stay away from is the grotesque plane. What happens to the grotesque. Okay, we don't know. All right. Yes.
The previous slide, we were talking about the 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
They're sitting at a round table, but what if
Yeah.
we have a rectangular table? Can we sit?
Corner, yeah.
We are sitting across, but you're saying like just angle your body?
Yeah, just angle your body. You can angle the chair because sometimes, and that works for when you are in a position that you can't change the chair. So then you angle the chair. But ideally, if you're having a consultation with someone, you want to be in the corner position. I mean, this is round, but you can do it in a square too, have one on this side and one on the other side. So that's a better position when you're trying to collaborate with somebody.
Like one on the end.
Yeah, one on the end and one, yeah, so
If it's an
like you're on right angles, yeah.
So what do you suggest doing like a lunch, you're trying to make a sale, so you're always facing.
Yeah, that's a little different. You're already in a social situation, so at lunch, that's an okay thing to do, to be across from each other, because our norm has changed.
Okay.
We're not in that situation where the lizard brain is going to worry about attacking you because it's hungry. It's already being fed. It doesn't need to eat. It's not going to eat you. Yeah. 5 minutes. Oh, I thought you were saying hi and telling me 5 minutes. Okay. All right. Okay, this is the last piece anyway. It's about the voice, and this is a terrific quote. In my judgment, voice inflection is the most important single undeveloped skill you need to concentrate on in your pursuit of professional sales excellence. And I mentioned that before. Now, what you want to do about your voice, use the diaphragm. I'm speaking from my diaphragm. That's my diaphragm. I can speak from my throat too, and that's fine. But if I'm up here doing a presentation, I speak with my throat, it has a little bit less impact. And if I start to get louder, it starts to get shrill. So the diaphragm, if anybody wants to get in touch with their diaphragm, I also have these CDs, a vocal workout CD, which gives you all the exercises of how to really get in touch with your diaphragm and how to use it. Pausing for power is important. I love when I say that in presentations, and in presentations I never pause because I'm always wanting to get all the information. But tune up your tone, and I'm going to talk about the tone. Habits, we all have these habits. Not all of us, but if you have one of them, you want to get rid of them. Upspeaking, everybody know what I mean by that? Yes. Enough said. Statement is a statement, a question is a question. Drop speaking. Drop speaking is when a lot of people just lose energy at the very end of their sentences. And because they know that they're finished and then they're going to trail off. And then it goes back. And what happens is the listener loses the energy as well. And sometimes you actually lose the content of what's being said. So if you're a drop speaker, be careful. Keep the energy up towards the end of the sentence. Whatevering is something that happens. I know this young lady mentioned at those networking events and giving your elevator pitch and stuff. Whatevering is the bane of that existence, and that's what happens. Like, hi, my name is Robyn Hatcher, my company is Speak, etc. I've been doing it for 17 years, I really love what I do. It's a sing-songy thing that sounds like you're bored out of your mind, and that you're boring all the people. Get out of the whatever. Whatever, use passion, use inflection, use different lengths of sentences. All of those things are going to give your voice and your tone a whole different rhythm. Make it energized. That's whatevering. Monotone, everybody knows what that is. And hopefully no one in here has the vocal fry. Anybody know what that is? Yeah, so wonderful. I can't even do it. Okay, so the voice is so important. And my last slide, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is then not an act, but a habit. And so I really encourage you to practice any of these things. If you want to get a copy of my slides, they are available if you want to text this. And what you want to do is you want to text the number. The number is then your, what you do is a text number. And then when you text 22828, and then you put the word speak etc in there, and then you send, you'll get a little message that says, oh, hi, you want the presentation?